The last mission of Dishonored 2 is simply the first mission backwards. Well, it's not quite, but it's close enough. Additionally, for speedrunning purposes, we're faced with a few problems. Climbing the tower is much harder than descending it, for once. Secondly, since it's the last section, and it ends up having some of the hardest strats in the entire game, how do you keep your nerve and not throw the entire run when you're about to get a world record? We'll get to those strats later. For now, as always, we'll be starting with Votium's route, showing us the basics and what we'll be building upon. First thing worth mentioning is that we don't have to actually interact with anyone, we can just go to the skiff. This is unique to this mission. The route that Vo chose to take simply relies on the fact that he did not have a lot of mana. There's not that much you can do here, so he opted to spam blink whenever it was available. Effective, if not a bit slow. I'll use this time to tell you a bit about the mission structure, as the footage should be rather self-explanatory. We simply have to make it all the way to the top of the tower, use the heart on Delilah to make her invulnerable, and finish her. Intended route is to go through the tower, entering the room where we first got our equipment through a secret door, or to activate an elevator from the basement, and take that to Delilah instead. And yes, Vo did actually jump exactly like this in his world record, while he was waiting for his mana. A fun fact is that this mana potion Vo is about to take has never been taken in any other any% world record. It's obviously understandable why he took it. He was so out of mana, but it is rather out of the way. We simply didn't know the better choices yet. Extra mana comes in handy as we make our way upstairs towards the previously mentioned secret entrance. Later runs would try to save a lot of mana for this mission, as getting these unobstructed clear blinks is quite nice, and not something you can do at every level. All that remains is getting rid of Delilah. Luckily for us, the devs had some mercy and placed her above where you spawn after entering the painted world. The more intended method is to fight a bunch of clones, which is a huge pain in the ass. So truly, sincerely, I thank you, because my sanity would have been long gone, even more so, if we could not do this fast. As this intro run comes to a close, it bears mentioning that timing of this game stops when you interact with the statue after dealing with Delilah. She doesn't need to be killed, or even dealt non-lethally. As long as you can interact and activate the cutscene, your run is done. This will be very relevant in the future. And so ends the first run at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Let's see what we can do better. We're shaving off almost a minute from the time by using an alternative entrance to the castle. Everything up to this point has been the same, but taking the elevator route changes things significantly. Obviously, powering the elevator would be much too slow, but instead, a clever way to blink behind the elevator was found. And yes, that means that Vo's route was the only route that ended up taking the secret entrance, which is a shame because that's a cool way to go to Delilah and do the thing. But hey, speed is what matters. The hard cutscene here is the same one that triggers in the secret entrance. I kinda forgot to capture that footage, my bad. Vo did get it too. For now, we just have to endure listening to it. Really early on, it was found that incendiaries have a lot of uses, like blowing up whale tanks, but also Delilah. With more mana and the alternative route, plus this incendiary thing, we end up with a 2 minute and a 22-second time. 59 seconds saved in a single day. Insane. The slightest improvement by yours truly, a better setup to get incinerating a bit faster. The hardfall is canonical, this is what happened and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Like I alluded to earlier, mana was a big deal and saving up some pots worked wonders for a 2 minute and a 12-second time. Just blinking away, no worries in the world, except the ongoing climate crisis, upcoming pandemic that we had no idea about, and the fact that one day all of your loved ones will perish. I mean, more mana is good, just blink for days. Now, sometimes more mana isn't enough mana. Introducing shopping. Buying up a cool 4 or 5 potions or something like that does miracles for endurance, allowing you to spam even more. Beautiful, really. Björni also did this goofy climb that I had completely forgotten about. Thanks for the memories, buddy. This next time save was a bit of a joke, posted by the former world record holder for Cornerstone and Ibsen Speedrun, multi-winner. He's also known for maxing a non-Ironman OSRS account, dodging taxes and buying new cars due to his native status, and being Canadian. We ended up making it work in the end. Jokes aside, let's break this down. Carefully blinking on these ledges allows you to just barely have enough contact and reach the top without having to go inside the tower. On top, we realized that getting aggro from a witch makes it so the hard cutscene doesn't trigger. This ended up saving a lot of time, getting our first sub 2 minute time at 1 minute and 45 seconds. Leaps are finally here, which can only mean one thing. Well, first we can now clip through the boat, but more importantly, we can just use all the space we used to blink through to leap. Like I've mentioned before, this simply changed everything. It wasn't the only change, though, that allowed Bjorni to achieve the 1 minute and 34 second time. There's also a new setup for incendiaries. I love it. It's just a really fun way to end the run when you hit it. Coming in again with the tiniest improvements, leaping after skipping the hard cutscene to cut down a blink or two. We are skipping in time, almost 2 years to introduce bottle skips. This was glorious, and if you've seen the other levels, you know how big of a change this was for the run overall. While the hard cutscene skip we had might have seemed reliable, there were multiple factors which, pun intended, could fuck it up. Most importantly, the said witch not cooperating. Double jumping from a height does the same trick. You take minimal damage. This additional leap allows for a bit more flexibility with mana. Routing Blink 2 upgrade had a really severe impact on this level. This allowed us to consider new ways of interacting with leaps, such as bouncing ourselves from a wall to keep the momentum going. Few days later, this rather infamous leap-blink combo was implemented into the run. I love it. A lot of people don't. We somehow kept finding more and more ways to make this last screen as hard as it could be, while saving a lot of time while doing it. This climb up is considerably harder from the previous one. It skips the hard cutscene by aggroing the witch once again. This pipe leap unfortunately did not see many world records. It's a high risk, basically no reward option. It just looks really cool. Also first sub 120 at 1 minute and 18 seconds. Seeker's run demonstrated a few new things. Firstly, skipping the awkward bottle skip setup with a simple throw it up setup, as well as an alternative way to start the leap blink chain at the start here, but most importantly, it had a massive 13-second Delilah kill skip, which to this day stands there at the very end of the run. I'll break it down once we get to it, but just seeing it once, it looks glorious. It's... oh my god, it's so good! You shoot Delilah in her leg, wait for her to fall down and her butt to make contact with the floor, and then use the heart at the right time. The game tries to start the cutscene. If done correctly, it can't. Delilah can't die in this state, but the game keeps track of her HP, so shooting her in the head once is good enough for the game to just register her as a goner. Not a gooner, that's very different. And with that done, that's mission 9. 58 seconds is as fast as I've ever gotten this mission, and there's some extra stuff like right there at the start, and that bottle skip is a tiny extra thing. You don't have to wait for the bottle to hit your head, but yeah, this is a fast mission. This is insane. And yeah, fuck man, this unscripted shit is hard, I'm telling you. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you saw the other parts too. I'm sorry this takes forever, etc. I know, I don't need to apologize, etc. But it just makes me feel a bit silly, because it really isn't that bad to do these. It's been really fun. And yeah, now I just need to stitch all of these together in one big video. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for all the nice comments and everything. You guys are great. Also seeing Delilah there, just chilling and not noticing you is always hilarious. Have a wonderful rest of the year, rest of the whatever the heck you're watching this in, and yeah. Catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.